Hey everyone, it's Foxx from modelmaking.guru here, back with the second part of our commission build video diary of the Master Grade 1/100 scale Destiny Gundam Westenfluss version. Or as I like to now call it, the Density Gundam, because it's far more amusing. It's been a million years since I did the first one of these. I normally give you more regular updates, but on this one I've had a lot of delays due to weather and not being able to get outside and do any priming. So I got a bit behind and I've had to motor through over the last week or so and get loads of stuff done, so quite a bit to catch up on with you. If you remember from the first episode, this is the standard Extreme Blast Mode Destiny Gundam kit, but we're going to be repainting it in the Heine Westenfluss colours for the client, which basically means changing the oranges, the blues to oranges. That's about it, and some different decals. So where have we got up to? Well, I have basically, since the last one, parts have been taken off the sprues, denubbed, primed most of them, painted most of them with the base colours, and chipping has now just been done. I've just finished that about half an hour ago, just the initial chipping coats. I had to wait for non-rainy, non-windy weather to do the priming, which is what the delay has been. So I've now got most of the parts for the mobile suit done. Still a few little bits I've got to paint up and chip. Not touched the weapons yet, the gun, the big gun, or the other big gun. I can't remember the names. Not done those yet at all. And there's a couple of little bits on the backpack I've got to paint. But that's no problem. I just wanted to get the bulk of it done. So we have some bits in here. We have all these parts here. All of the parts. And also some parts here. I am at the stage now where I want to begin the gloss varnishing for most of the parts. So I'll just show you what I've done. First thing I did after getting everything clean and ready and primed was the metallic frame parts. Now, because I've got the camera in a funny place, the lighting's a bit shit, so I don't know if you can see here, if this will focus. The lighting's a bit rubbish, so it doesn't look as dark as that, but this is the crotch part for the torso. Basically all painted gunmetal, which is quite a dark colour, as you know from my previous videos, and then dry brushed with the Tamiya Chrome Silver, just to give it that lighter colour, lighter metallic colour, but so the dark still shows through in places. And then the gold is just Tamiya gold leaf, brushed on, just thinned a little bit and brushed on. Now it was actually a chance for me to use for the first time. I said on my Facebook page, you feel I went to the local games workshop, mine's in Altrincham, and I wandered in, had a really nice chat with the guy there. Looked at all the displays, the model pieces and dioramas he'd made, and they're really actually quite good, so, you know, good talent. But I bought myself a load of the Citadel brushes. I'd heard about them. For tiny details, I've always struggled because my brushes are a bit rubbish, so I got myself some Citadel brushes. And the one I used for that gold detail painting is the Artificer Layer Brush, which to me is basically, it's a very small, fine detail brush. They have the most strangest and stupidest of names for their brushes. I made a joke the other day saying, I like to use my Artificer brush for all my artificing because I like to artifice. I don't know. It's basically a really small, fine detail brush. But the reason I got the Citadel brushes, apart from the fact they're dead expensive, you have to give them several spleens to buy one, was I've heard they're very good at keeping their point. Well, you look after them. And yeah, so I've used this now for a day or two to paint the gold parts, and yeah, it's kept its point beautifully. So if you want some good brushes and you don't mind giving lots of money to people, the Artificer brush and the other brushes, all of the names of which I can't remember because they've all got really dumbass names, but that notwithstanding, they're really good brushes. My little mini review. So yeah, all the gold leaf parts were painted. I'll just zoom in again and get the light on it so you can see there. Because I brushed it and because it's out of focus, do you know, hang on a minute. Come to me. Because I brushed the parts, I didn't spray, didn't mask them off, just literally brushed them on because it was thin. Comes out a slightly, I don't know, it's more of a brass colour, but it works really well with the chrome silver and the gunmetal. I'll just move this and I'll show you I'll show you this part if I can get it. You've got here the part for the backpack. Again, the lighting on this is rubbish because I've got the light in a different place. You can see there, works as a really nice accent colour for the metallic colours underneath. Now I say this hasn't been weathered or anything yet, there's not even a gloss varnish on there yet. So that's the next stage. I went on and did all my usual chipping. Now I had to do two different types of chipping here. on the red parts, I did my usual chip the paint with the blade of a knife, just so that the primer underneath, which was white, shows through, and you get that nice paint chipped colour. Dead easy, doesn't require any skill at all. Just go a bit careful. You want to go strong enough with the blade that you take the paint off, but don't go so strong that you take the primer off and expose the plastic underneath. Now, I actually ran out of the white Tamiya primer for some of these parts, so for things like the oranges, and for some other parts that are going to be coming up, I couldn't use that technique. I couldn't chip the paint off because the primer was more of a medium grey and you can't really see it. So what I had to do was do it the proper way, which I've never done before actually, which was just to actually paint the chips on. And this was using my little artificer brush. I guess this counts as artificing. So I had a good artifice session, and basically repeated or duplicated what I've done with the blade, but with the brush, because it's a really fine point. I can get really tiny little chips. Now I just use white, normal Tamiya flat white, and it is a little bright, but once that's been gunk washed and everything else, that should look absolutely fine. What else have we done? That's about it actually, to be honest. Painted all the white and orange parts. The red parts are done. Got a couple of little tiny sub-assemblies ready to go, just because they can be put together, like the side skirt parts. Next up is a coat of gloss varnish. I'll just show you this bit because this is quite cool. I've got a coat of gloss varnish to do next. Little gold accents on there, you see, quite nice. And then once that is done, we are on to then the decals and the weatherings. I'll just move that out of the way. I'll show you one of the legs. Again, I've got the light in the wrong place, so it's very shadowy. But you can see there I just put some nice little gold accent details on the leg there, just to make things more interesting. It gives you a better look at the effect I've got with the chrome silver and gunmetal. The gunmetal is the kind of darker colour you can see in patches, and the way you get that, or I got that, is just to dry brush the chrome silver over the top very lightly and build it up so you get that kind of burnish look. So let's say next up is gloss coat, then a couple of little bits left to paint, then decals, then weathering, and then once that's done, I'll then crack on with the weapons. Once the mobile suit is done, I'll crack on with the weapons. So that's where we're up to. As I say, I did get quite behind with this, so I'm hoping to make up ground now in the next couple of weeks. Client has been really understanding, so that's really cool. He's a really nice guy, so he's happy to have been waiting a little bit. But you know, good things, you have to wait for them. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it for this episode. Tune in for the next one. Probably has some stuff built up, and we'll give you a better look. I'll give you a quick look in when I finish the mobile suit before I start the weapons. So that will do. Just as a side note, a happy new year to all my followers. It's only 2nd of January. I was debating whether to post something over Christmas, but I never got a chance. Other than that, that's going to do it. So as always, it was just a quick catch up, nothing in great detail. Take care of yourselves. Here's to a really good 2016. Thank you to everybody who's watched throughout the last year or two. My YouTube views are going up nicely, and my little follower count is increasing, so I like that. Keep yourself tuned in. There's more to come. After this, there'll be a Millennium. Oh, a couple of things just before I go. One thing I wanted to mention. Somebody sent me a message on YouTube today. I'll put a comment on YouTube about using a product for gloss varnish, and I'm going to mention it because it's actually about the third person that's mentioned it. He had some problems with his paint, and he noticed that when he was putting on his oil wash and rubbing it off to do a gunk wash, everything was coming off, sometimes down to the bare plastic. Turns out he was using, what was it? Pledge Floor Care. Now, I'm not singling out, you know who you are, I'm not going to single out you because you're actually about the third or fourth person that's mentioned it in about the last week. So I thought it's something I'd best mention. It's an easy mistake to make. The names for Pledge and Future and Clear are all very confusing, but he used Pledge Floor Care. Pledge Floor Care is basically a cleaner. It's not any kind of protective chemical or wax or sealant. But I have had a few people that have said they've used Pledge Floor Care and it's all gone wrong. That's because you're using Pledge Floor Care. It's like coating your model in all-purpose cleaner and then wondering why all the paint comes off when you do the weathering. So yeah, make sure if you're going to use... I use Pledge Multi-Surface Wax, as you know, which is this stuff. Look for that label, unless it's changed. Pledge Multi-Surface Wax, formerly known as Clear. Now, it's probably changed since then. It's probably got a new label. In the United States, it will be called either Future or possibly Clear, more likely Future, or it may even be now Pledge Multi-Surface Wax. But make sure you're getting the right one. So in the UK, pledge multi-surface wax. Don't go on eBay and buy one of the older bottles that calls it clear. No point. They're like 10, 15 quid. Waste of your money. You can get a bottle of that for about 5 or 6 quid from Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda. Most places, most supermarkets will sell it 5 or 6 quid. 750ml, it'll last you years. If you're in the US, look for Future. If it has changed, there's a website. I'll put the link here. I've done it before. Go to this website. It's called The Complete Future. It's one of Swanee's models pages. It tells you everything you need to know about Future/Clear/Pledge multi-surface wax and what it's probably called in your country. Just be aware the label changes all the time and the name changes all the time, so it's updated quite regularly. So I just wanted to mention that because that's about 4 or 5 people that have said they've used the Pledge Floor Care, and it's don't use Pledge Floor Care. I mean, of course, you can use model making gloss varnishes. This is just a lot cheaper. And you use a lot less of it. One other thing I wanted to mention was something that I have now already completely forgotten because I started on the pledge thing was I had a lot of questions recently about painting the Millennium Falcon. A lot of people were following my DeAgostini Falcon build, and they've asked about when am I getting back to that, and also advice on painting it. So a couple of bits of news. One, as I've said to many people now, the DeAgostini Falcon is kind of on hiatus. The issues are piling up in a cupboard at the moment. I had to stop it basically for a number of reasons. One is I'm just too busy. I've got too much going on with commissions, other builds, stuff, videos for other people, and just my day job. I haven't had time to get back to it. I will do it at some point, but it could be, 6 months, a year from now. I may have to wait till I've got all the issues and then I can just build it and paint it. One of the reasons I kind of stopped on it was I started doing the inside cargo bay and it just broke me. I didn't want to make that bit. So when I do get back to it, I might actually just miss that bit out. I don't know yet. I might. So yes, I will eventually go back to the DeAgostini Falcon at some point. Also, as you can see, my desk is nowhere near big enough to build it, so I'll also have to find out somewhere to make it. However, in the meantime, after this Density Gundam is done, yes, I called it Density, I know. After the Density Gundam is done, my next commission is another Fine Molds Millennium Falcon. Now, as you know, when I do a commission, I just do these things, these little quick videos. I don't do full video builds. However, what I might do, because a lot of you are now starting to get to the point of wanting to start painting your DeAgostini Falcon. Excuse me, ooh, burping. Oh, fish fingers and burgers. Oh, I'm hungry again now. I'm just thinking about all the food I've eaten over Christmas. I've got so many of the fats going on right now. Anyway, so many of you getting to the point of actually painting your Deag Falcon, or even just any Millennium Falcon, with the new ones coming out. The new Bandai 144th is quite sweet. So you get to the point of painting it and you're not sure. I did do a write-up on the modelmaking.guru, www.modelmaking.guru, it's kind of obvious. There is a write-up on there for when I did my own personal Fine Molds Falcon a few years ago. I don't use those techniques anymore in quite the same way, so that one is still a valid way of doing it, but I'm not doing it this time. The last one I did and the next one I'm doing, I'm not going to use those methods quite the same. So for the Falcon commission, what I'm going to do is I'll do the build as normal, give you a little video diary, but I'm thinking what I might do is actually film the painting and show you how I paint the Falcon, and do it as a kind of how to paint the Millennium Falcon guide. More like a how I paint the Millennium Falcon guide. Let's try not to sound so like I know what I'm talking about here. I ain't no professional. I just make stuff up as I go along. Shh, don't tell anyone. So all of you that are gagging to paint your Falcons, but obviously I'm going to be another year away from going back to anywhere near that Deag Falcon. I'll do that for you so you can see how I do it. And the techniques I use on the fine molds for the client, I'll probably use exactly the same techniques on the big Deag, unless I learn new techniques in the meantime. So anyway, enough waffle. It's been, 17 minutes almost. Woo, long for one of these. Right, anyway, I'm going to bugger off. You've suffered me for long enough now with nothing actually happening. So join me for the next part of this at some point when we'll show you some more progress. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for following. Continue to follow. And we will see you next time. Adios, amoebas.